Hi, cherished viewers, and welcome to another episode of my scholarly journey. If you are new here, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also hit the small notification bell so that each time I post a content, you'd be alerted. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking to Christine, a very wonderful woman who I do not know on a personal level, and I'm also curious to know much about her and how she managed to embark on her successful journey. I'm hoping this video would inspire someone out there who is thinking about following such a career path. So, hi, Christine. Um,
Hello, Cyril.
hi.
Thank you for
So,
having me.
it's my pleasure, and yeah, I'm really privileged to have you here. Um, do you mind telling me and my viewers a bit about yourself?
Okay, so my name is Christine Ofosu Ampadu. I probably should start off by saying that I am not my achievements. I believe that my achievements are part of who I am, but I'm not. There's more to me. I like to think of myself as somebody who is very personable. I find fulfillment in helping others and seeing them happy. And most people, or I do believe I am determined. Normally, when I set my mind to do something, I rarely see obstacles, but that also can become a weakness in certain instances. But with respect to my career path, which is why I believe I am here, just to say that I am a lawyer, I am called to two jurisdictions. I'm a barrister in the UK, and more recently, I have been admitted as an attorney at law in the state of New York. And currently, I'm working as a lecturer, so I can say that is my job. And I also am a writer. I have a blog where I write things from time to time. So just in a summary, I'd say that is who I am. Yeah.
All right. So where did you have your high school education all the way to tertiary or probably graduate school?
Okay, so I started off in St. Rose's secondary school in Akotia. I finished that, I think, in about 2006. And then I moved on to study land economy. So I did general arts one in St. Rose's. And so I moved on to study land economy in Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in Kumasi, Ghana. And from there, I've gone on to do a Master of Laws, some call it an LLM, in International Law and International Relations in the University of Kent in the UK. And from there, I've gone on to do a law degree. I did a 2-year compressed law degree. And from there, I went to do the bar because I wanted to be a barrister. I must say that in the UK, there are two routes. It's either you want to be a barrister or you want to be a solicitor. I took the route of a barrister and I went on to become a barrister. I practiced after that as a crown prosecutor in the UK. And from there, I worked at the ICC, the International Criminal Court in The Hague, Netherlands,
Oh,
as an intern with the Office of the Prosecutor. And whilst there, that's when I've studied to pass the New York bar. And more recently, I'm working as a lecturer now.
all right. There's a lot, and I'm hoping I can remember everything you've said. All right.
Yeah,
So let me understand KNUST, your studies in KNUST a bit. So you said you did land economy in KNUST, right?
yes, yes,
And then right after that, I don't know where you did your national service, but then you went to pursue a master's in law.
yes, yes.
All right. So how is that possible? Because everyone I speak to makes me think that once you pursue your bachelor's in a field that is not law related, you need to pursue another bachelor's in law, which is often about 3 years at either GIMPA or the University of Ghana. Then proceed to Makola before you can actually be called to the bar or to pursue a career in law. So can you walk us through that process?
Okay, so I must start by saying that I've always known I wanted to be a lawyer. I took a bit of an unconventional approach, if I should say so, into law. When I went to KNUST, law was just starting off as a first degree course. Normally, it was a second degree. And my dad is one of those conventionalists. He thought that it was better to do another course so that my intellect opens up before I sort of do the law degree. And so
Okay.
I was influenced mostly by my dad. Then I did a land economy, and I think that in a sense it makes sense along my career path and the kind of advantages it has given me. But then afterwards, I went to do a Master of Laws. Normally, you need a law degree, rightly what you said, to do a Master of Laws. But in certain subject areas, which is a subject area I did, international law and international relations, it has nothing whatsoever to do with domestic law. They are quite apart. You just needed a good degree, social sciences degree, I think, yes. And if you have that, you could do a Master of Laws. And so that's how come I've been able to go on to do a Master of Laws and then come back to do an LLB, because the plan was always to do to become a lawyer. But then the opportunity came to do my master's, so I thought to do that first. And then I've come back now to do a 2-year compressed law degree. Mostly you'd have a law degree to be 3 years or 4, depending on where you are, but I did mine in 2 years. And from there, I've gone to do the bar, if that answers your question.
Yeah. All right. All
Yeah.
right. So, still on your story. So, after you pursued your master's in the UK, what condition did you need to satisfy before you were able to be called to the UK bar?
So after I pursued my master's, I needed to have a law degree, and that is what I went on to do. I did a 2-year compressed law degree, and as I've said, in the UK, there's a distinction. I think the UK is one of a few, if not the only one, to have a distinction between being a barrister and being a solicitor. If I should just bring it down to its bare minimum, just to explain it, I would say barristers are mostly those who really go to court and do the advocacy, whereas solicitors are those that sort of meet the clients, sort of try to have an understanding of what the issue is, and then they would go on to instruct a barrister to take it to court. So depending on what you want to do in Ghana, like this, you can be a barrister and a solicitor. You're a lawyer. It's all lumped together. But in the UK, there's that distinction. So if you are somebody who you probably didn't want advocacy, you want to be a lawyer, but you just don't want to be standing in front of people litigating, you probably would go and be a solicitor. And so I went in to do to be a barrister, and to do that, you need to pursue what they call a bar professional training course.
Okay.
But if you wanted to be a solicitor, you need to pursue what we call a legal practice course. And pursuing the bar professional training course is just one aspect of it. After you have qualified as a barrister academically, you will need to do what is called a pupillage. Let me just compare it to housemanship with doctors. It's where you do on the job, you sort of understudy someone, it's sort of your transition into being fully qualified as a barrister. And I would say here it's in this area that I had a bit of an advantage, and I was a bit fortunate, because in the UK it's very rarely that you would hear that people qualify academically and go on to secure pupillage. It's quite difficult to get. So most people would finish the academic components of it and probably come back home to do a post qualification and sort of get into their system. But I was fortunate to get a pupillage with the Crown Prosecution Service in the UK. And so I'm fully qualified barrister, and then I practiced as a Crown prosecutor, which meant that I was mainly prosecuting cases in court on behalf of the state in criminal law, all different cases in criminal law. So that's my journey to becoming a barrister.
Were you being funded by the school, or you had to pay out of pocket?
So yes, I always say that it's what's called a parental scholarship. I was I was funded by my parents for my master's,
Okay.
and for my law degree in 2 years. But I worked part time as well. And I was fortunate. I finished my law degree with a first class honors by the grace of God. And so I was fortunate to get a PATH scholarship, what is called the Dean's Excellence Award. It's a scholarship that is specific to Nottingham Trent University, which is where I went on to do the bar professional training course. And
Okay.
so that would be the kind of financial support that I've received on the way. But it's quite financially intensive as well. And that's what I normally tell people when they ask in terms of wanting to pursue a law degree outside the country. Apart from the time and the dedication and commitment, it's financially intensive. to pursue, because you don't find scholarship a lot for law degrees and specific courses like masters in law. Normally, the developmental programs you might, but with these, you, unless of course it's a private scholarship or something of the sort. So that's it for me. Yeah.
All right. So let's say I've pursued law in Ghana. Can I directly apply to pursue that training course in the UK as a step of starting my journey of wanting to be called to the UK bar?
I don't believe so. I think that's the problem with all these professional bodies. Everybody wants has this autonomy in their countries and these bureaucracies. And if you did a law degree in Ghana and you wanted to go outside, specifically the UK, to do the bar, you probably might have to do the GDL, which I call it law on steroids. You're compressing a 4-year course or a 3-year course into a year. And so your best bet maybe if you want it quick to do the GDL. But then when you do the GDL, you have to go on to do the barrister's course, the BPTC or the LPC to qualify. Because if you come back with a GDL, I know as it stands now, Makola won't accept you. They don't understand the GDL language. It's something that the UK uses. But
Okay.
if you wanted to, if you wanted to come back still and do it here, you probably want to do a law degree. So you might go my path where I did a 2-year law degree and come back to Makola or do a 3-year law degree again. But I guess that is burdensome and probably you probably wouldn't want to do that. If not, then I think the GDL will be your best bet. I know that in terms of being a lawyer already and practicing for a number of years, you could actually come to the UK and apply to the Bar Council, and there are probably concessions they will give you. It won't be the same route as somebody with just a law degree is. So that will depend as well. You'd have to look at it, years
Right.
of practice and experience probably. Yeah.
All right. So I'm still trying to understand this. So even after you've been called to the UK bar, for example, you've gone to do either the GDL or you've done the compressed bachelor's, you've done all the courses you're supposed to take, and you've been called to the UK bar. If you come back to Ghana and you want to practice in Ghana, you still need to go to Makola before.
Um, if you if you finish your qualification, that is, if you don't just leave it at the law degree level, and you go on to do you go on to become a barrister or solicitor, academically qualified. Ghana has something they call a post-call qualification. You will not be coming in to write an entrance exam into Makola like somebody with a law degree would, but you would come in, then you do the 9 months, they call it post-qualification, 9 months, and pay for it, and then afterwards you're called to the bar here. So somehow it's sort of a shortcut if you want to look at it that way. But also it's quite expensive. So I mean, you're doing the post call, but that is the way. If you did qualify, that would be what you'd be looking to do to come and do the post call qualification, and that is 1 year. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So after being called to the UK bar, you said you sat for the exam, then exams to be called to the New York bar, right?
I mean, I did practice in the
Yeah.
interval period. I did practice for a bit. I was called to the bar in the UK in 2016, and I've practiced a bit. And then it was just last year, 2019. I actually had come home trying to do the post call qualification, but certain things did not work out. And I applied to do the New York bar because I've always known that if you have a qualification as a barrister or in the UK, it's normally easier to do the New York bar, not even in the UK alone, but in other areas. But
Okay.
so I had it in mind that's something that I wanted to do in terms of it opening up opportunities for me, because I've always wanted to work internationally. So I signed in. It's a course that you can do remotely or in person, but I did the remote one. You could do it in 6 months or 9 months. It's very ambitious to do it in 6 months remotely, and then you pay for it. You have the books, you have the videos, and at the time as well, that's when I got my internship with the ICC. So I was working full time. I was working in the day, and then in the night I would come and study for my New York bar exams. But eventually you'd have to obviously go to New York to write the exams and to pass it. So that explains my how I got to write the New York bar. It was ambitious, I thought at the time, and I still looking back, I think it was very, very ambitious. Yeah, so that's it.
All right, wow, that's very interesting. Okay, being a young black woman, I mean, considering all the different obstacles, do you mind sharing with us the very tough moments in your career, the very moments where you felt like you couldn't proceed because of external factors, not really because of you, and how you managed to overcome some of these challenges?
Okay, like you say, in terms of, I mean, I would hope that these five things run through this interview. The fact that success is not a straight, a straightforward line, like we thought it was when we were growing up.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things. Now looking back, people look at my resume and probably think I had it all planned out, that I'll do this and do that, but that's not how it happened at all. Secondly, I would like it also to come out in this interview also that the importance of having a support system. Thirdly, the fact that it's really about what you have been created, or which the purpose you've been created to fulfill. It's not just about getting a name, about getting all the accolades, but what you're here to do. And in terms of my obstacles, I would say that first of all would be the fact that being female um, is an obstacle. Um, I mean, our society now it's probably not as pronounced that it was before, but it still is in terms of being a woman and achieving a lot. As right from infancy, there's as much as you're told you can achieve, and probably that is how we build our world, that we cannot break barriers. But in my journey and from what we've seen from other people as well, I believe barriers are meant to be broken. Being black has been an obstacle for me, especially because in terms of my legal journey, it's always been outside the country. And there are times that I've walked into a robing room, which is where the barristers dress up before they go to court. And I'm so much aware that I'm the only black, not only black, but only black female. And even in court, I mean, sort of when I would be prosecuting on behalf of the state, you go and meet your victim before you go into court, and they just realize, look at you, you're black, you're female, and probably I look very young as well, and that in itself is an obstacle. And even for the defendants, the racism, I mean, it's there, but those things were obstacles as well. And I think that the last thing I'll say is the fear of failure. I think we don't try to achieve things because we always fear that they would say no or will be rejected. And there's one thing I always say, that the worst anybody can do to you is say no. That's the worst. But you'll be faulted for not having tried. And I think that is really the reason why a lot of opportunities and doors have been opened for me. The fact that I've trained myself not to be afraid to hear a no. I always have this mindset. After I was done with my bar course, I remember walking to see my careers advisor and trying to ask in terms of going on to do pupillage. And she told me the real fact. She said, no, it doesn't happen normally for international students. Even the locals, British people, find it difficult to get pupillage. So how much more you with the visa obstacles and all of that. I did hear her because I think it was good that she gave me that dose of reality. But I did tell myself I'm going to try anyway. And I did try, and it happened that, I mean, in my school, I'm one of two people in the history of my school to ever get pupillage. And I think there as well, it also broke a barrier. So I'll say primarily, there are times that finances has been a barrier. There are times that, I mean, your expectation of where you want to be in your life and the fact that you're always studying can also be a barrier. But I think the main thing will be the fear of failure, being a woman, being black. Those things have run throughout my career path. Yeah.
All right, that's interesting. And I'm curious. So, how did you manage to work on your visa, especially with the pupillage? Um, because, like you were saying, you said you were advised that it's difficult for you to be able to do that. And secondly, what about you or your applications do you think stood out to help you achieve that feat?
Okay, so how I was able to work on my visa, I would say that mine was just a miracle. I'm Christian, so that will probably come out in my speech as well. So what happened was after I'd sort of gone through the processes and I had actually been given an offer, it was at that point that they realized, oh, she's not local. And so how do you get the job?
Okay.
But fortunately for me at the time, the Bar Council, which is the body that oversees barristers in the UK, they had a scheme where they were seeking to sort of sponsor international people so that it sort of encourages people to come and qualify in the UK. So international sort of people who had come to qualify as barristers. And I was very, very, very fortunate to benefit from that scheme. And so that's how come I've sort of weaved my way into the system. And I think that is absolutely a miracle. And not everybody has that advantage. And in terms of your second question was, what about my application? So I remember when I got to the UK, somebody explained it to me this way, that it's like a train that has already moved and you're trying to get onto it. So you have to work twice as hard. So, I mean, I was coming from a Ghanaian background, and in terms of the whole culture shock of going to do a master's, the gap, I would say, in my understanding of the way things work there and the way we study here as well, it was so pronounced. So I would work extra hard, literally. And I think that in my applications, I sort of started working my way towards it, like in terms of work experience. During my vacations, I'll get the needed work experience that I can get to sort of better my CV. In terms of the skills that were needed, I would take advantage of all the opportunities that my school would offer. And so when I did my application, I kept thinking, what can I capitalize on that would make me stand out? Because I think that's what every employer is looking for. And so I capitalized on how different I was. The fact that I was from a Ghanaian background, the fact that I was female, the fact of the things I've been able to achieve even in Ghana here, and the challenges there when I've come to the UK. And I believe that's what stood me out. And that's what got me the job. So sometimes it's a disadvantage being female, being black, but sometimes as well it works to your advantage because when you capitalize on those things and how different you are. Because I remember at one interview I said that yes, justice must be seen to be done as well as justice has to be done, you know. So how would it look also for like a black prosecutor to be sort of prosecuting on behalf of a black victim? They have confidence reports because they know you look like me and so you can do the job. These are the things I capitalized on. I capitalized on how different I am. And I think those are the things that work in advantage. So I think that every time when we're doing applications or we're trying to get to the next level, we sort of want to fit a sort of a stereotype. But sometimes I think that it's best to take a step back and look at how different you are. And sometimes these things do work to your advantage. And that's what happened in my case.
All right. Okay. All right. So I've never asked this before. So what is the next thing we should expect from you? Um,
All I would say is I always want to be the best I can be with everything that God has blessed me with. And in that way, to be able to influence societal change and to impact life. So basically, to do everything that I've been blessed with, to do it. And so when I see an opportunity and I feel that it will lead me, then it's something that I can do. I always go for it. That is my motivation, really, to be the best I can do with everything. And so yes, I don't even know what my next speech would be, but it's just probably to say you always just have to prepare yourself for opportunity. Looking back, it looks like I had it all planned. I didn't have it all planned out. Probably in the future, it's going to prepare me for something else. And when the opportunity is there, I will be prepared for it. And it's not now that when the opportunity opens up, you're like, oh, I have to get a law degree, I have to do this. Whilst you're still figuring it out exactly what you want to do, try to stay relevant. And if it's something that you can afford, it's something that is within your means to do, why not do it? Yeah.
All right, so I have a feeling I'm probably looking at the future Chief Justice. Anyway, so
I probably should say this here, and it's one of the things I was hoping will also come out in this interview. I think that what you say it really matters. I think from a young age, I've always said I wanted to be a UN Secretary General. I don't say that as often now because I realize obviously now I understand what it means to get there, but it's something that I've always said that I want to influence change in this way. So I think you're it sort of helps with your mindset, even in achieving anything. The fact that I can do it, you get doses of reality. I remember when I wanted to take the New York bar, I had to sort of speak to somebody who had done the New York bar whilst working full time to sort of get the reality of the picture. How much am I committing to do? But then also knowing that she had done it and she had passed. And that also brings me to another point that all these barriers, they are meant to be broken. The fact that the moment somebody does it, the moment somebody goes to the moon, you see that it is possible. From a young age, I saw that Kofi Annan had achieved much. And in my mind, I think it is possible. And so I think that really that is something that even in our academic journeys or in our ambitions, we should um, think about. Yeah.
all right. So this would be my last question. What would be your word of advice for your younger colleagues in Ghana, probably those who didn't start with law but want to get into law, those who have actually started with law and also want to be called to the bar in other countries abroad? What would be your word of advice for such people?
I would say that it's never too late to do something that you want to do. Sometimes I think that um, the way we are set up or the sort of the journey to want to acquire another degree or a PhD, it seems like 4 years is a long time. Or I've already become an engineer. Why do I need to sort of become a doctor? I don't think it's late for anything. Sometimes you probably practice after a doctor for a few years, and the fulfillment in it, you feel like you've had a satisfaction and you want to do something else. If finances and are not stuck or other things, I would say why not just jump on to do it. And so just have the mindset of just knowing that it's never too late to start what you want to do. And just to keep yourself informed and keep yourself relevant as well. COVID happened, and I mean, some jobs will not be as relevant as they were before. And so now you're also thinking, how do I remain relevant? So I think as much as you have under your belt, as much skills as you can get under your belt, it sort of equips you for whatever happens next. And so I've seen doctors who got an MBA, and so they can open up their own hospitals. And so don't never think that you're limited at all. It always is a mind thing. When you feel that you can do it, you can go for it, find out the information about it, speak to somebody who has done it before, and then go on to achieve it.
All right. Thank you very much, Christine, for taking time off your busy schedule to share your experience with
I'm
me.
not busy, don't worry. But that's yeah.
Yeah, I'm really inspired, and I'm pretty sure others who would be watching this video would be equally inspired by your story. And thank you very much.
You're welcome, Sarah. And thank you also. I think it's a good thing that you're doing in terms of getting other people to share their stories to inspire others. And yeah, thank you for this opportunity.
Okay, thank you.